Hi there, welcome to Alpine Bravo. My name's Brendan. This is my channel for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just picking up from a stream that hung up on me for some reason there, and just doing my taxi. Started the engines when I noticed that I was hung up. We're on the turnaround here. We're going from Macaza up in Quebec back down to Westchester County. No VATSIM, unfortunately. I mean, better announce our taxi. Oh, also better turn ATC voices back on at some point. I'll do that when I get down. Blowing snow, very wintry. Hey there, welcome to the channel. Just having had a little bit of a stream issue there. Managed to get it back up and working. Backtracking down runway 20. Once we get down the end, I'll just re-go over the departure brief and re-enable the ATC voices, which I've turned off, not using VATSIM unfortunately because there's no cover and flying in empty skies on Unicom isn't really worth it. Hello, chat is good, chat as much as you like, ask questions. So we got 8 passengers on board. Short flight, just be an hour. It should be better conditions when we get down to Westchester, which has been really terrible weather there today because I've done 3 flights in and out of there today. Trying to make money before I go off away with work for a few days. I have not tried the Kodiak in X-Plane. I do not own X-Plane. I'm tempted though. I was looking at someone's videos. Yeah, I mean the graphics aren't obviously as good, but the flight model seems a lot more realistic compared to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm just worried about the expense of it. Okay, I'll just take advantage of this turning area. Not really worried about any landing traffic coming in here. It is the most godforsaken, sorry if there's anyone from Quebec listening, but this is feels like a very godforsaken airport. I mean, I've been to definitely more godforsaken up in northern Canada. Yellowknife. I mean, geez, oh, there's nothing up in Yellowknife. Well, there's a big airport up there, but anyway. Okay, let's get us lined up, pop the parking brake on. We'll sync the heading bug now. Right, I'm just going to quickly get the ATC voices back on. Onto Azure, apply and save, go back. Okay, we can announce our departure to the south. So one little edit I was able to do today was change it in the simulator so it didn't announce it as a Cessna. You're announced as I'm announced as a citation now, which is correct. It really bugged me that it did it wrong, and it was a 30-second job to do the edit. Okay, we're looking for our before takeoff checklist. So ice protection is on, rudder bias systems checked, seats upright and outboard, flaps are checked and set, our speed brakes are 0, our trims are set for takeoff 3 green, crew briefing's complete, TCAS is TARA, radar, get the weather radar on, push the go around button. Yeah, I've never tried X-Plane, and if I did get it, obviously I'd go for X-Plane 12. Okay, bat ramps 20 or less, ice protections on, pedo heats can go on now, exterior lights, well, strobes and landing lights are on, taxi lights are off, check the ECAS, it's all good. The parking brake can come off now, and we are ready for our departure, and 21:02 is the time. Okay, two good engines stable. Takeoff power set and achieved. Airspeed's alive. 70 knots. 100 knots, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Yaw damper on. Flaps up. Climb power set. Oh, I should have waited till I was at 200 knots, actually. Straight into the weather. Right, well, there's 200 knots now. I'm gonna arm nav, arm flight level change. Sorry for the sudden camera movements. To battle the trim a little bit. Said our flight level changed to 240, and we're breaking out at 6,700. And we'll just, so fairly good intercept now. In fact, LNAV is captured. 7.5. Speak to ATC. And just keep on climbing out. So that's the aviating done, and the navigating is done. And let's do a bit of communicating, and we'll get our IFR. Flight plan. Landing lights can go off. 16,000, great. We'll bust that straight away. Oh, well, I'm going to ask for higher. So I didn't realise it was climbing out into a Class Bravo there, actually. I mean, it's not called a Class Bravo in Canadian airspace, of course, it's called something else, but I think it's actually Class Charlie, or it's a CTR or something like that. Okay, there's 18,000 feet, so we can go standard pressure. I'll ask for another 10,000. Just keep on doing that until we get to 410. One thing about these custom camera views, the way that you do them is they're cockpit views, so which means you get cockpit sounds, so you don't get the full sound of the engine. Bugsy. Yep. How many? We've got 80 miles to run until Bugsy. We're just passing flight level 240. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Just pressed the wrong button. There's a bit of traffic out there. Not much though. That's 360. Better acknowledge that. And now that I've got that, some other traffic. So 360, I'll need another 5,000 feet. Oh, I did that again. Yeah, okay. Well, temperatures and pressures looking good. That's what's coming up on 300. Cabin pressurization's fine. Be nice if that was fully modelled. Got the nice custom interior. This is a mod which I think might have been taken down off Flight Sim TO as part of the general revolt of the devs. But it really makes a nice improvement to the interior. New York approach has come up online. I will not. I'll not log on to VATSIM. It's not good to do it when you're in the air. Andrew, I couldn't agree more. If we could have the X-plane flight model and aerodynamics with the Microsoft Flight Simulator graphics and weather, that would be awesome. What, you know, they'll probably merge at some point, but I couldn't understand. I mean, it's probably the bigger challenge is getting the world right and the graphics right. Actually, you know, modeling a cockpit and its avionics just to do IFR is pretty simple in comparison, which makes me wonder why. And in fact, I think that was the problem really, that Asobo, you know, they didn't have experience in this field, and they just, you know, what they did was an amazing job of, you know, creating the world, but then they layered on top of it, sort of a bit of a dated, maybe, I don't know, philosophy for the actual physics of the flight model. Was a lot of old stuff, or, you know, there's 410. Yeah, so they just you know, got some real basic stuff, like working with some of the people on the forums at the moment trying to figure out whether icing works, and it appears that icing currently has very little effect on your aircraft. Even if you look like a wedding cake, ice dripping off the wings, it don't really lose a lot of lift. It's definitely not right. There's lots of little things that aren't right. I mean, the ground handling isn't right. I mean, I just modified this version of the citation today, edited it to give it more ground friction to try and stop it getting blown around the runway when you're on the takeoff roll or you're landing in crosswinds. They are, if you're in the Summit, the Sim Update 12 beta at the moment, they released an updated set of packages for the CJ4 today, which has made further changes to the flight model, so it should be better. I think I might put the co-pilot on radio duty now. Otherwise, I'll miss my frequency changes. So all the traffic that you can hear, it's all injected using FSLTL Live. So that pulls live ADSB data from same source as Flight Radar 24 and then injects that into the simulator. So what you can do is quite often you hear a call sign and you can open up Flight Radar 24 and you'll see the aircraft that's in the simulator is there in reality. No, it's not perfect. There was a bit of a lag, so the location doesn't match exactly, but it's pretty close. So getting up there, just 2,000 feet to go, then we'll be finally in the cruise. 350. Let's get the head tracking on. Oh, there he goes. Bit late. By the time you get the warning or the traffic advisory, it's too late. We had over 4,000 feet of separation, so not really an issue. So we'll do a fuel check when we get to Bugsy. Just make sure that we're burning as expected. So at Bugsy, we should have burned 745 pounds and have should have 2146 on board. 1,000 feet to go. So we obviously just crossed the border. And one thing I need to do is to get some of the altitude restrictions that come with the Valerie 5 arrival into the flight plan. I think there's just one. I think it's 6,000 at Valerie. And the reason it hasn't loaded them in is because it's not an RNAV arrival. So the altitudes on the published chart are advisory, and because they're advisory, it won't load them in on the FMC. But what I've discovered, if you do want to use VNAV to take you down, you don't have them in, you end up too high. So there we go, 6,000, and now we've got some VNAV information as well, which we were lacking before. So 70 minutes to top of descent. We are Alts cap. Just leave it in climb power. What I'm going to do though is take the anti-ice off. Should have taken that off a while ago, but that'll give us a bit more performance now that we're not bleeding air to the wing and the engines. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give X-Plane a look at some point. Finding the time. It's a challenge. Because my kind of side project that I'm working on at the moment is trying to learn how to fly the H145 helicopter. Well, it's just really complicated and difficult. Because it's got a whole different set of controllers for that. don't think I need the lights on. So there we are at Bugsy, and we have burned. Well, it's obviously bugged. They did say there was a bug with it. Right. We've got 2170 on board, and we were expecting 2144, so we're a bit under, which is always good. Better to be under than over. But pretty close. So the fuel factor that I'm using, if you use SimBrief and you basing it on the old working title, SimBrief profile, I found that was seriously underestimating fuel burn. I don't know if that was a bug with the profile or. But you see the profile, I mean, those fuel burn calculations that SimBrief use, that's nothing to do with this aircraft in the simulator. That's taken from real world data. So yeah, the aircraft was burning a lot more fuel. So I've used a positive 13%. So all the calculations in SimBrief add an extra 13%, and that seems to match up pretty closely. There's a Cessna in there. But I just need to listen out for a citation, although the co-pilot is handling the radios at the moment. So 12 minutes to Todd. I still haven't come out of climb power, but I mean, I'll probably achieve a cruise speed of Mach decimal 7.5 right about the time I begin my descent. So let's see what the MEDAR is doing. Oh, I've got a discontinuity. No, that's a deliberate discontinuity. That's for the vectors round to the ILS. I want to leave that in. But let us go to the data link, get the weather. We're going to request it, and it's for Kilo Hotel Papa November. Pop that in there, send that there. Should get a received message. Yeah, received. 3106, 10, clear, 01, dew point -1, altimeter 29901, and a bunch of other stuff, which I always have to go and decode. I'll just preset that 901, and there's Mach decimal 73, bring it out of climb into cruise. Interestingly, the FADEC just had me at 98%. I'll just leave it at around about 97. Just try and balance the engines out a little bit. Ooh, there we go. I'll not touch that. Anyway, okay. I'll leave it at that. So 2126 Zulu at the moment in the simulator, which is an adjusted time. What time is sunset? So sunset is at, oh no, that's not right. That's 1744 local. So 5 hour difference. 22:44. 20, yeah. We're 30 minutes, yeah, so we'll be landing daylight. Eight minutes to Todd. Just cruising at decimal 73. I'll leave it at that. Getting a bit of a tailwind. Still about 80 knots coming from the east. So this is leg 6 of a 6-leg job in OnAir, and when I complete this, I get the payout. Which is quite a good job actually. There were three legs back and forth, one to Hamilton. Where was the other one to? Toronto, and then finally this. So they're all in Canada, but it's sort of turnaround. Each one of them is a turnaround, so fly up, drop off the packs, pick up a new set of packs, take them back to Westchester, which is quite nice. And sort of better than doing. I mean, some of the, kind of like 1500 nautical mile jobs are quite a lot of time up in the cruise. I prefer the shorter hops. I mean, generally, I prefer flying a Kodiak and BFR and see things, but gotta do a bit of IFR now and again. So I'm just gonna get information on my approach. So it's gonna be the ILS 34. And that is 343 degrees, frequency is 109.7, identifiers India Oscar Juliet Zulu, and the platform, well, the FAF is Theo at 2000 feet, and our minimums for Cat 1. So our decision altitude is 742 feet and an RVR of 1.25 miles. Four minutes to Todd. Right, I'm going to set my minimums now. So what did we say for our minimums? 742. So dial that in now. 750. My last flight, I had to add 200 feet to the minimums because I didn't have a accurate local altimeter setting. So I had to use the setting from another airport, and I did not actually achieve minimums. I went like 50 feet lower, so within that zone of the real minimums, and he said, well, yeah, and then I saw the field, but it was, yeah, I should have gone around or diverted, but hey ho, it's a simulator. So 109.7 now. I'm flying into a custom airport, and currently there's a bug, which it's not really a bug. It's a lot of developers don't do some of the things that you need to do to make sure that the procedures are retained when they build their custom airports. So what it means is that the nav to nav function, where when you program in your approach in the FMC, it doesn't then automatically load the frequency and then automatically transfer from GPS mode into localizer. So you just got to do it manually, just like in a Cessna or Boeing 737. And even if you're not going into a custom airport and you're using nav to nav, you really, you always need to check. So what do we make of this this overlay? Yeah, it's not bad actually. There's a freeware that created it. I didn't want anything over the top, just something kind of like a bit minimal, but bit of information in it. Bit of branding. Right, 1 mile, well, 6 miles to Todd, 1 minute. Just gonna tune the LaGuardia VOR on nav2 because we use that as part of the missed approach procedure. Get that bearing pointer up. There we go. I've got everything pretty much in the cockpit bound to an external device or a key. I really don't like having to use the mouse in the cockpit if I can avoid it, particularly on really flight critical things, anything to do with the autopilot. And there's some really good devices out there actually. I'm using a Cytec multi-panel for the autopilot, but actually what I don't like about that is you have to sort of do this. There's a selector knob for, there's only one rotary encoder on it, and so you have to switch between modes, and that isn't great. Whereas you can get devices which pretty much mimic the flight guidance panel, and you've got dedicated. I mean, I've got a dedicated VS wheel, but you've got dedicated heading knob and a dedicated speed knob and things like that, so you're not having to kind of switch around selecting stuff. Whoa, did I just miss top of descent? I did. Too busy gabbing. Right, I knew it was only a minute to go. So we'll select a lower altitude. I haven't actually been given descent by ATC yet either, but I don't know whether that's because yeah, it won't give me my path because I've overshot it. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll ask for lower. Except it won't give me the option. What's going on? That's probably because I'm in turn Bob the co-pilot off. Now, no, as it completely. Right, let's try COM2. See if that's gonna. No, ATC is broken again. It really is a waste of time. Right, vertical speed mode. We'll dial in, I think, a healthy 3,500 feet per minute. Leave VNav on, and if I do intercept my path, it'll pick it up again. I should. I'm just got to watch my speed descending at this rate. I'm still accelerating. Just try and get the magenta speed trend indicator to not move, basically. And I can hold that speed coming down. And we'll know if we're getting back onto path because the magenta snowflake there will start to creep up. Sadly, there's no vertical deviation information provided. So coming up on Albany, 4 miles. I'm going to dial in 6,000 on the alt select. See if anything's going on with this ATC. Yeah, it's just completely broken. We shall ignore it from now on. There's Albany. Inbound Athos. You can give me 280. Speed up a bit now. Okay, let's get some performance data loaded up. 310 at 6. It was 1 degree. 2 9er 1. So that's 109 and 102. So it's 109.7. Get that in nav1 now. No need to dial in the course because it does remember that. Course 343. I'm paranoid though, so I'll still dial it in. There's no actual way of doing it in the cockpit. Not unless it's the active nav source. So we're coming up in our path actually. I should capture it. Ooh, crosstalk. That's because there's this COM3 here. which you can't actually tune. And it picks up Boston Center, which is happens to be 124.85 or whatever the default frequency is. So we've got our path. That should bring us into bring us in over. What did we say? Our restriction was it's Valerie 6000. Okay, you know, I'm just gonna turn that off. Ridiculous. But what I can do is on COM2 get the ATIS. I know I've already put in the performance, but I'll just check. We're landing 3-4. Bit far away for it yet. There's the Hudson River down there. Jefferson Heights just on our right, pretty much flying straight over it. Coming up on the Kingston VOR. Flight level 200. So we are already on the Valerie 5 arrival, or the extended part of it. Coming up on Wigan. Actually, yeah, Wigan there, and then it will be Kingston VOR, and then Valerie 6000, Basie, Harp, and then it'll be Vector myself around because we got no ETC. Just for the descent checklist, pressurization is verified set. 410, that's the field height. Oh, Westchester County, ice protection, well, we'll consider it when we come into this cloud down here. Altimeters, well, we've just passed 18,000, so we'll switch it over to 2991 and we will cross set. There we go, altimeters set and cross checked. Exterior lights, pop our landing lights on at 10,000. Otherwise, yeah, we're getting down there. We'll put on our pulse lights. And we're below 18,000 feet now, so we'll do the arrival briefing. And start slowing it down. So 5 knots headwind, 3 knots of crosswind from the left. So it'll be crab to the left and low wind on the left hand side if necessary. So we need 2,580 and we've got 6,543. That's plenty. Anti-ice will be off. No need for a landing factor. 103, 109. £1,520 of fuel. It's plenty, and we've got just coming up 60 miles to run. When that hits 60, we'll probably start to hear. The ATIS. It's quite peaceful without ATC actually. It's just best to ignore it. Someone really needs to clean the glass more carefully. Look at those smudges. So we'll pop our landing lights on and we better slow down. A little bit of speed brakes here actually. Just want to make sure I'm below 250. There we go. There's IGN, Valerie. So 12 miles to Valerie, and let's put the anti-ice on. This looks like it slares at about 9,500. I'll get the head tracking on, see if I can get an idea. See the ground. Yeah, can't really. No. Yeah, that's us into the cloud. Don't want to go too slow. Got quite a ways to go yet. Picking up a bit. There's a bit of cloud turbulence. Not much though. So we want to come past. We're going to pass the field on our right side. We'll track down, and our last waypoint should be Harp. Yeah, and then we got the discontinuity. So on the approach to Harp, we'll sync the heading bug. We'll go into heading mode. We'll fly around it. Okay, 1,000 to go. I'm going to be above 2,000 at JetAx. So there we've got the ground. So we popped out at 6,000. Yeah, still murky. Bits and pieces out there. We'll take ourselves down to 4,000. We can sink that heading bug now. Yeah, and the layers. Yeah, the bottom of the, well, there's holes and there's layers. The bottom of the layer looks at about 5,000. Let's see what it's like when we get down to 4,000. New York is, Manhattan is over there somewhere. Thousand to go. Okay, we've passed Daisy and we're coming to Harp. Yeah, wind is definitely coming from the north. Didn't pick up Atis though. Let's see if right, here we go. 326 at 5. So yeah, slight left-hand crosswind. Very slight. Visibility 10. Don't know why the audio is just completely bugged. And it's not even scrolling through fully. See if we can actually get a pressure setting. Few at 1700. Few at 4,500. Well, that's the things I'm scudding below at the minute. Temperature 2, dew point 10. Altimeter, hey. 29er, 901. We're good. Well, some traffic out there. This is the downside of flying without ATC. Guessing that's something departing from LaGuardia. Yeah, that was a bit close, wasn't it? Still, I didn't get a traffic alert. That was an Iceland Air. Yeah, heading to Keflavik from New York. Okay, sync the heading bug, go into heading mode. We will select 2000. We will put our panel lighting back on. ENAV can come off, and we will put in a nice gentle 700 feet per minute. So heading mode is armed, VS 700, 2000 selected. And we'll just fly out over the sound. And we are on a 160 heading already, pretty much. We'll fly out over the sound and then vector ourselves in. And it's now gone on to inhibit. So if we put JetAx, there we've got a direct JetAx, which I'm going to ignore. Stay in heading mode because I don't want to go direct JetAx because that would give me too sharp an intercept angle. I'll wait until it's at about 90 degrees and then I'll treat it as a base. I'll enter a new direct as well. Right, so we're at 207 knots. We'll bring it down a bit. 1,000 to go. Gonna bring the anti-ice off now. Or will I? Got a static air temperature -1 and there it is 50. Yeah, no, I'll put the anti-ice back on. Bit hasty there. Yeah, I can tell it's not too windy. The water's nice and calm. Any yachts out there? So what I'll do, select JetAx, put it in again, and that will give me a new direct. And I will arm nav, LNAV captured, and that will turn me in. Kind of treating it more like a when we land, we'll be turning off to the right. Yeah, turning off to the right, and we'll head to, oh, well, no, actually, yeah, to the right, to the Millionaire ramp. Or is that down on the left? I can't remember. No, it's to the left. I want to exit. So once we get turned on to our final approach course of 343, we'll arm the approach mode. So we'll just do our approach checklist now quickly. Landing data is confirmed, crew briefing is complete, avionics is set, minimums are set, fuel transfer selectors off, exterior lights are as required, ice protection systems as required, passenger briefing is complete, but the seat belts adjusted and secure, passenger safety button is on, and we can go flaps 15. That's the approach checklist complete. Oh, some sunshine over the field. Ooh, a bit of some little gust there. Yeah, and there we have the field in sight. Okay, we should be within the ILS favours now. We're at platform altitude 2000. We can change the nav mode to preset localizer 1, and that is confirmed. And we can arm the approach mode. Approach lock 1 is captured. Glide slope is armed. So our FAF is Theo, which will give us 5 track miles to run. So we'll gear down at 6 and then flaps 35. In fact, I might even go sooner than that just because of the ballooning that you get from flaps 35. So gear down. Three green, no red. Flaps 35. Watch it struggle to. It's always a good idea to do that with the autopilot on, because then the autopilot will deal with all the trimming. Glide slope captured. Okay, we can, our missed approach altitude is 2000, so ALTSA can remain as it is, and our missed approach is, oh no, it's 3000. Set, heading 343, inbound SAX VOR to NITAC, right, okay, yep. So landing checklist, landing gears down 3 green, flaps 35, speed brakes 0, airspeed is VAP at the moment, and well, we'll get a little lower and then we'll pop the autopilot and the yaw damper off. Let's watch the speed. So let's try and keep it at 110. Now, what you do get is sometimes you get ridge lift off this little feature right before the threshold, so you can suddenly get pushed up on short final. It's not so windy, so I'm hoping it's not going to be too strong. Okay, glide localizer is good, glide slope is good, speed is good. Okay, we're going to autopilot and yaw dampers off. Wind check, yeah, just 5 knots, just left of the nose, as forecast. Let's see if we get a bump off this ridge or not. Man, it's so different. I landed here this morning and you couldn't see anything continue. So this ridge here can really kick you out, kick you about. Quite an obstacle actually. Not too bad today. 180, 70. It's a little high. Get that. Really tricky landing the CJ. I hope they do sort it out. Oh, I'm getting lots of stutters. Right, here's the nose wheel down. God, landed long. Really wants to float, and then if you don't keep the power up, it drops you. Oh, looks like we're exiting right whether I like it or not. No, I can exit left actually. So speed brakes are up. Flaps are up. We landed at minute 9. We're getting lots of stutters. It's almost certainly because of it. FSLTL, which I will just clear that and hope it give me a few extra FPS. Probably not though, because what happens is it sim gets overloaded with objects it has to draw, and once it's got to that point, it's quite difficult for it to recover its frames. Anyway, landing lights and strobes off, taxi lights on, pitot heats can go off, and our radar is off. So we'll carry down here on Lima, and we'll turn at Foxtrot. Pulse lights can go off. So next right on to Lima. Yeah, there's Millionaire over there. Actually, I'll not take Lima, I'll carry on. Sorry, not take Foxtrot, I'll carry on Lima. Oh yeah, my frames did improve. So crossing a runway 11. Straight ahead. Still pretty jerky, really. There's Millionaire there. probably got to see what my landing rate was if you're watching this. Thanks to that overlay. I think it rats on you. Well, passengers are paying a lot of money for this ride, so I'll take them right in front of the FBO terminal. Well, that's a taxiway actually. Better not park on a taxiway. Here we go. Parking brakes on, and that was minute 14. Minute 9 and minute 14. Cool. Right then, well, let's do our after landing, speed brake 0, flap 0, pitos off, ice protection is off, radar standby, exterior lights is required, shutdown parking brake is set, emergency light switch can go off, standby flight display can go off. I can shut the engines down, but not before I turn off taxi lights, nav lights, leave the beacon on. So we have 1550 on board. Right, 1550 on board, and what did we have as our block was 2891. So 2891 minus 1550 equals we burned 1341. Fuel trip was 1355, so we were all £14 of fuel under. That's pretty good. In terms of our timings, well, these aren't quite right, of course. We should have landed minute 36. We landed minute 14. But then I didn't push at the right time. The block time was an hour and 21. Engine on. Put my engines on at minute 48. So that's an hour and 12. An hour and 22, an hour and 26. 5 minutes over. Yeah, that's not stopped, did it? So pretty good. All to plan. Now, what was my landing rate? I don't want to know. 304 feet per minute. I didn't think it was very soft. Just floated it and then dumped it. Quite common. Bounced it. But hey, who cares? I just got paid $300,000 for that in my on-air business. Right, thank you very much for watching. That's me for the stream. See you next time.